Greetings Multiverse and welcome to this E3 2017 conferences commentary. We've seen them all, EA, Bethesda, Ubisoft and of course Microsoft and Sony. Enjoy them all. But of course we want to comment on the big elephant in the room first before we talk about the games. DC, despite our video, did not show a single thing. There was a little bit of Joker from Arkham, there was a little bit of Injustice 2, and Injustice 2 is going to be on the WB stream tomorrow, but there was no game reveal. And we are exceptionally disappointed in Warner Brothers for this. I mean, it's up to them entirely when they want to show their games, but guys, Marvel had two major games there. They had Spider-Man and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. They also have the Avengers project coming, they have Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, and they have the ongoing Guardians of the Galaxy series. 5 exciting games from Marvel. And what have we got from DC? Injustice 2 DLC. And that's it. That's it from DC's side. Why? Why is that the case? Why is that the only thing for us to look forward to? I mean, yes, you can argue that Injustice 2 counters Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Where's the counter for Spider-Man? We need at least a Batman Arkham game for that. Where's Lego Justice League? Where is Batman Season 2 from Telltale? These things need announcing. We need something to look forward to be excited about. Justice League comes out in November. Wonder Woman is in theatres still now and rockin'. Why, on the gaming side, is it just Injustice 2, which is out already? I'm excited for all the DLC. We're going to be streaming it shortly because Red Hood's out now. I am a veteran of the game industry. You may not know this. I've been writing about games for about 10 years or so. I have a lot of contacts. I've written for magazines, I've written for websites, and everything in my experience and my knowledge was screaming at me that Warner Brothers were going to announce DC stuff at this E3. At the very least, the new Batman Arkham game. And the fact that they didn't not only is disappointing, but also it is worrying because it does kind of say their games aren't ready to be shown. Which is fine. I want to see them when they're ready. I don't want a Marvel Avengers project type situation where they announce the name in the studio and it's years away. I want something to be excited about from DC. At least one game to be excited about from DC. Even if it's another Batman Arkham game. That will do me. Just something to get excited about. So are we going to have to wait for the Video Game Awards for December? Are we going to have to expect a surprise PAX announcement? Or are these games really in trouble? Or just have they been reset to the point where they're not ready to show yet, which again is fine, but they have so many studios working on them. They have so many studios that would love to get a crack at DC's properties, especially with Justice League coming out in November. And you're telling me you don't have a single game to announce? Keep us going, even if it's one for 2018? Spider-Man isn't due out until a vague 2018. And they showed that off the last 2 years, and it looks great. Look, there it is. That's a Spider-Man game. That was there last year. It's there this year, and looking very massively influenced by Arkham Knight in particular. Why isn't the next Batman Arkham game? Even if they just had a short demo to show us and to say 2018 at the end of it, I'll be fine with that because it's something to get excited about. Or a Superman game, or a Justice League game, or a Wonder Woman game. I just want to see it. I just want to get excited for something specific rather than vague promises that could be cancelled. I'm certain there is going to be at least one more DC game announced this year. Hopefully several in the next 6 months. The fact that it hasn't happened at E3 is very disappointing. Oh well, that's how it is. Let's move on to the games that actually were there. Now, we've checked out all of them. EA mostly couldn't care less, I must admit. I'm being honest, I'm a huge gamer, but apart from Battlefront 2 and maybe Anthem, there wasn't much there to excite me. But Battlefront 2 is looking cool. I'm a big Star Wars fan. In terms of my loves, DC Comics is number 1, Star Wars is number 2. Very closely tied. Sometimes I flip between the two. I may even stream Battlefront on DC Comics Gamer. I'm that big of a Star Wars fan. Funny enough, looking very, very similar to Pandemic's Battlefront 2, which I find quite amusing. No bad thing. Just an update with a single player campaign, and I'll get it. Moving on to Microsoft. It was a good conference, I thought. It was good. I don't think at any point I thought, I'm going to get an Xbox One. Or even an Xbox One X. Metro Exodus, that was the one that excited me most at the Microsoft conference. I'm a big fan of the Metro series. I'm still yet to read the book. But I will do. They're massively underrated shooters, really. They are really well designed and quite cool. Been that long since Last Light. Anyway, yeah. Assassin's Creed Origins is potentially going to get me excited in the series again. I didn't see the movie. I own Syndicate and Unity and have not played either of them. Cuphead at last getting a release date of September 29th. Middle-earth, Shadow of War, that's the Warner Brothers one. That's the one that they dismissed DC entirely to bring out. I'm much more excited for. I loved Shadow of Mordor, but I was sort of thinking this one was going on the wrong path, but the fact they've got colour and humour in it completely sold me on the idea. Now I'm really excited about it. So that's the only Warner Brothers game that I'm excited about at the moment. Thanks, Warners. Bethesda kind of won the show for me. Wolfenstein 2, I'm very excited for. In fact, that's possibly the game I'm most excited for. I loved the Wolfenstein games. I love myself a good first-person shooter, and I cannot wait for that. The Evil Within, I think, is also pretty underrated. It's just mad. It's a mad survival horror game that keeps on changing its mind about what it wants to be, but it's fun. I totally recommend picking up if you haven't. If you want a sort of a Resident Evil style survival horror, it's good fun anyway. It's worth picking up for now because you can pick it up ultra cheap. And more Dishonored. I love the Dishonored series as well. I'm fully intending to play Dishonored 1 and maybe 2 on DC Comics Gamer and playing them Batman style. With stealth, with warp as the grapple, and not killing anyone. It's very easy to play as Batman in Dishonored 1 and 2. Moving on to Ubisoft. They had a pretty strong conference as well with likes of South Park I'm still interested in and coming out this year. And yes, I will be streaming that one on DC Comics Gamer as well, and I'll be playing as whatever DC Comics heroes I can make. At the very least, The Flash. But I will be streaming that one, because that's just going to be mad fun. Far Cry 5, it could go either way, frankly, as long as they've changed it up, because it's getting quite stale at this point, particularly the resource gathering, which is just boring. But as long as they do change it up, I'm all for it. But then we had the big event, Beyond Good and Evil 2. Wow, at last, no announcement of release date, so this is basically just another CGI trailer, but still the fact that they've properly said the game is existing is a very good thing indeed. And I cannot wait for that game because it looks mad. I honestly don't know how Ubisoft got persuaded to make it. It looks too mad. But in a very good way. It won't sell at all, but it's going to be great. But yeah, moving on to Sony's conference. The end of the day with Spider-Man, good. I'm not, even though I run a channel called DC Comics Gamer, I am not a Marvel hater. Absolutely not. DC is far more my jam. I cannot wait for the Spider-Man game via the lens of Arkham, and if it's done well and not too many QTEs, as that video kind of looked like, I'll be all down for it. It's a superhero game I'm actually looking forward to that's been announced as coming out. Take some hints, DC. As for the rest of the Sony conference, I'm not sure. There is a lot to get excited about there, but not necessarily games for me. Shadow of the Colossus, not going to play it again. Even with an HD upgrade. And God of War, it's never been a series for me. It does look good, as does Uncharted Lost Legacy. Uncharted is much more my type of series, God of War now just looks like Uncharted. That's the funny thing. So I'm more likely to play Dad of War, or whatever you want to call it. I still haven't finished Uncharted 4 though, admittedly, but I'm going to, and by the time Lost Legacy comes out, I will have finished Uncharted 4. Monster Hunter, I am not a Monster Hunter fan. It does look good, and I respect people who are Monster Hunter fans, but I am not a Monster Hunter fan. Surprising amount of VR stuff came out of Sony's conference. I will get at some point, if just for Batman Arkham VR, and maybe Psychonauts, but I still don't really care, and I certainly didn't care about any of those. David Cage's latest, Detroit. I'm not really a fan of David Cage. Not since the Nomad Soul. And that was pretty much it for the Sony conference. It was quite understated, really. Certainly didn't have that much in the way of reveals. I mean, the Shadow of the Colossus reveal was probably the biggest. There just wasn't that much there, really. There was a lot there, but they were all games that were announced last year. And several of them are still coming out next year, like Spider-Man. But who cares? It's all good stuff, and I will be playing as much as possible. But again, I want to reiterate how disappointed I am with DC for not announcing anything at either the Microsoft or the Sony press conferences. Something still could be announced in the next couple of days. E3's not over yet, but now that the main conferences are out of the way and the WB Live thing has got a full schedule, including Injustice 2, I don't think there's anything going to be announced after that. So we have to wait again. We have to wait probably until after the summer to get a new DC announcement, if then. So it's going to be the fall, autumn, winter time before we see any sort of DC announcements. And that is really disappointing. Apart from Injustice 2 DLC, which we should be getting the Starfire trailer very soon, in the next week, I want to say. I suspect next week we will get the Starfire reveal trailer. Red Hood's out today, that's the big news, and we will be streaming him later. But yeah, thanks for watching this E3 bitch fest. Sorry WB, I love you, but you kind of dropped the ball there, and the good reason can only be the games aren't ready yet, and that's not so good. I mean, Spider-Man wasn't ready last year, but it got shown. It's not coming out till next year, and it still looks great. So why can't you just throw us something to get excited about, you know? We just need a game to get excited about. That's what we do. We're fans. We're DC Comics fans. Give us a DC Comics game to go alongside Justice League. That's not up to us, is it? It's up to Warner Brothers. C'est la vie. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to DC Comics Gamer for all sorts of DC Comics videos daily, including everything on Injustice 2, Gotham, and whatever else I could possibly imagine. Leave a like below, they really help us out, and a comment on what you thought about this year's E3 and the lack of any DC announcements at the show, and I will make sure to answer, promise. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you later.